Greetings! I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for inviting me, at least virtually, into your classroom, share some time with you, and provide you with an interesting activity or assignment. First things first, this assignment was inspired by J. Ruth Chandler's The Book of Qualities, and it was a gift. The book was a gift given to me by a friend, dear friend, a long time ago, and it was inspirational for me. And it also helped me design something that maybe you could use as a writer and help you understand the concepts of figurative imagery, kind of reinforcing sense imagery, and also helping us move from the abstract to the concrete with our writing. Who am I? My name is Kevin Zepper, and I teach English at Minnesota State University Moorhead. My emphasis is writing, whether it's composition or creative writing. So getting that out of the way. Simply put, our purpose is to learn and utilize figurative imagery in our writing to create sharper images for our readers. That's the whole goal. Take something that we've written and help our readers understand perfectly what it is that we're writing about. I'm going to talk a bit about sense imagery, and this is something that we've all known about since we were like 4 years old, right? We know our senses. We trust our senses when we're small. As a teacher, I refer to the senses and the three kinds of metaphor that I'm going to talk about today as my box of 8 crayons. Okay, you're little. You get the 8 box first before you graduate to the 16, 24. I think maybe now you have like markers and things, but back in the day, the old school, we had 8 crayons, and you could come up with just about any color you wanted to, and you could blend in everything else, and it really was wonderful. So my belief is that with this box of crayons, metaphorically speaking, you can write quite a few things, quite a few stories, quite a few poems, enhance your narrative essays just with these 8 things. Given our assignment, I would like to brush up on these things with you. And I have this handout here. It says, this. It says Sense Imagery and Figurative Language Handout. So this is a sort of exercise to kind of get you into the mindset of the final project here, doing these qualities I was talking about. Provide a few examples of how each sense can add details to your work. So your teacher may want to go over these in more detail, but I'm going to give you the basics. So what you want to do is you want to think about the senses and how they're best represented. So for sight, I have sight. Here's an easy one. We see color. Color is something that we perceive through our sense of sight. And there are other things as well. So it'd be nice to have a list of how we perceive things with sight. Then there's sound. What do I perceive with sound? And one of them is volume, right? How loud is it? Or how soft? Smell. Tricky one, but it's really important to get this one down because the sense of smell seems to be hardwired to memory. We smell something, it reminds us of something else. It's just one of those cool sidelines to that sense. Then we have taste. Taste, right? What do we perceive with taste? And finally, touch, right? What do we perceive with touch, right? Using our hands, our skin, okay? And finally, we have the figurative language here, and there's 3 types. And the first one, you probably know already, we use this a lot, almost every day actually, is the simile. And this is creating taking 2 unrelated things and creating a direct comparison. So, for example, the coffee is like thick mud. It's like thick mud, okay? Thick mud. So it suggests the density of the coffee, the color, like mud, right? And then the possible taste of the coffee, like mud. Well, it should taste like mud. It was fresh ground this morning. Anyway, so that's simile for you. A metaphor is an indirect comparison. It's a little bit different. So you can say, my love is a rock. Is a rock. And then it implies why. So my love is a rock. Well, a rock It's like a foundation. It's cold. It's unmoving. It's strong. It might crumble. So there we have metaphor. And the easiest way to remember this is simile uses like, as, resembles, those sorts of buzzwords. Finally, we have personification. And the best way to explain this is to say personification is the attribution of human qualities. In other words, you provide human qualities to things that are not human. Okay. So, and there's kind of a sticky thing with this because you may say, well, the dog barked joyfully when I got home. Well, we don't know. They seem to be happy, right? But for the sake of the device, we have to look at it as anything that is not human or living. Okay, so then you can apply the traits and you can have a clear consciousness. I love my dog. I think he does bark joyfully and angrily at me. So at this point, I'm going to just take a quick break here and turn around and pick up a worksheet, the next activity. And this is a time when your instructor can pause and give you some time to do this exercise, maybe 10 minutes or so. So we'll do that. Okay, I'm back. Just had to shuffle some papers. That's what happens with teachers. We shuffle a lot of papers. And if you write creatively, you shuffle a lot more. Just the way it is. I hope you've got some good things written down about your senses and figurative imagery, right? So here we are. Giving life to a quality. Okay, qualities are abstracts, and our world is filled with them. And it's important that we define what these qualities are. So, say I take a word like freedom and I say, I want you to all write down what you consider freedom and how do you define that? And you'd write a definition. And all of you would have something slightly different from the next person. You might have some words that are similar, but everybody would have a different idea what freedom is, right? So, what we're doing with this exercise now, we're turning to qualities, is we're going to be using our box of 8 crayons. We're using our 5 senses and three figurative imagery devices to really define what these qualities are. And to add to this, we're going to take these qualities and we are going to provide characteristics as if these qualities were people. Okay? As if they were people. So I have 2 examples. I just wrote these up quickly in a little dash. So bear with me if there's something that doesn't completely spark. But this is the general idea. So I thought of 2 of them. The first one that we're going to do is, let's see here. Well, these are out of order. I don't care. So the first one we're going to do is hope. So hope, all right, hope, quality. Well, this is the characterization of the quality. Before little Hope goes to bed, he turns on a night light, resembling a tiny candle flame. He isn't afraid of the dark, but he knows how important the light is, how it reminds him there's always a light in the dark. Hope always prays for others and the plights they may have, whether suffering from an illness or fighting in a war abroad. Sometimes Hope gets teased at school, but it doesn't bother him. He knows that things can change for the best. Hope often plays with his friends Charity and Truth. They know they'll be friends for life. Okay? Gives you kind of a skeletal image, or you kind of get a rough idea there of what hope is and what kind of character is. And you can go on. You can continue. Hair's brown, likes to do this, but it's based on this concept of hope. Here's the second one. It's kindness. Kindness lives in a modest pink house near an open glen. Every day she takes a long walk through the park and tips the guitar player for a sweet song. Kindness loves baking and gives many of her delicious cakes and treats to friends and functions at the local churches. Her hair is brown with wisps of gray. While a neighbor was recovering from a long stay at the hospital, kindness watered their plants and brought their grocery order home from the supermarket. Even though most people know who she is, they sometimes take her for granted. She enjoys reading books filled with adventure and magic. While she's working on a difficult task, she sings "The Little Engine That Could." Kindness will most certainly find the positive in everyone. I should say she sings "The Little Engine That Could." It's a cute little ditty. You'll have to look that up online later. So those are two examples of what you can do. And just remember to really work on those sounds, sound devices, and those figurative images to really shape your qualities, aka your characters, right? And I've provided a list for your teacher to look at, and maybe there's some you can put on the board. And if you get stuck, it's always good to have a start if you're having problems getting started. So the handout here is the qualities handout. Write a short piece of prose, or, it's just like a regular start of a paper, characterizing a human quality. Use the 5 senses and figurative language to the best of your ability. Imagine the quality as a person. This person is fictional in nature, but may be based in part by a real person. Maybe there's somebody you know that really is kind, really has that quality. And maybe you'll say, well, I'll take the brown hair from that person. I'll take that activity they do, or lend that to my piece. Remember to show your reader the quality you've imagined. Let your ideas flow and don't worry about spelling and grammar. Don't. Not initially. You can go back and correct these after you write, type your content. Try writing for about 10 minutes and see what happens on the page about your quality. Your teacher may allow you more time. So at this time, I'm going to take one more small pause so you folks can actually write this and do a good job at it. And like I said, don't worry about spelling errors and things. Just worry about getting the content down and the senses and the figurative language. Okay, I hope you have some good content there, or maybe you just got started with something, got a good idea, something to come back to later. Maybe you have a finished piece, and that's wonderful. So this is one kind of thing, one kind of activity to help you realize, move from the abstract to the concrete, and something to help you really define an idea or a concept with creative writing using the devices. Okay, so I'm glad I had this time to share with you, and I'm glad I'm involved with your day in some way, even virtually. It means a lot to me that you've chosen this exercise. I do want to thank the North Dakota Council of Humanities for making this effort and encouraging instructors to do this, to be there for you. And big shout out to Rebecca. And also to your instructors and your fellow classmates. I really wish you all the best with this, and keep the pen and keys a-rolling and moving forward. You never know what you're going to end up when you start writing creatively. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.